Hey everyone, this is Felicia with another Mommy Needs a Minute. Number 7. This is actually take 2 because the last one I made on Wednesday went in the shit can. So, yeah, that video was basically supposed to be about facing your chaos dead on and, what your fears are and different nightmares that have been a problem over your lifetime. And as I said earlier in my Facebook, I was going to explain one of my ongoing nightmares that I had as a kid that I luckily enough don't have problems with anymore. But before I do that, because I say that, the old fashioned saying goes, you gotta face your fears head on, grab the bull by the horns, and, just roll with the flow. But so, from what I know, based on what my friends have fears on, there's some that are afraid of heights. There's some that are afraid of clowns. There's some that are afraid of ladders. There's some that are afraid of dolls, like petrified of dolls. I'm talking porcelain dolls, by the way. To a point where they can't even have them sitting in the same room because I don't know, maybe they think that they're just gonna sit up and run away, or come after them in their sleep. Who knows? But anyway, so because I didn't get very much response when I had made the comment on Facebook, I decided to take to the internet and really see what it is that I can find for other people's nightmares. So there was one that I found, which was pretty weird but interesting, was that there was a person who woke up and they were made of bread. Yeah, that's right, I said bread. And in this dream, they had their arm break. So technically, they had their limbs break off. So, in order for them to have this fixed, they had to go to the local bakery and have the baker put on a baguette to make up for his broken arm. So, I don't know about you, but that would be a little freaky. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to go out in the rain. I get pretty damn soggy if I was bread. So there was another one I was reading, and it talked about how this person had a nightmare that they were having a celebrity dinner with Pink, but Pink was a vampire, and every 2 minutes or so, Pink would lunge at them until it got to a point where they kind of just stood up and started running around the room, and at this time, Pink started running after them as well to try to chase them down. Um, And in that time, the friend of the person who was eating dinner with Pink decided to decapitate her. And they buried her head and her body in some weird oak marked grave and went on the run because they didn't want anyone to come after them because they technically just killed Pink in the dream. I've heard different things about people waking up and feeling like they're paralyzed and seeing a porcelain doll sitting on their chest before. I've seen people who were told me stories about how they've woke up and their dreams were so lucid that it felt like they were living the dream, and they've gone down in the basement to find some kind of weird torture dungeon. Yeah, so there's a lot of things that randomly our minds can come up with that will scare the shit out of us. And some of them actually are something that you only happens once, or you wake up and you only remember half of it, or two, you forget it altogether, or it's so vibrant that you either need to write it down or it's something that you just never forget. I've had my slew of lucid dreaming. None that were nightmares, though. I've had some with weird worlds and weird people, but everybody does. So, going back to me saying that I was going to relive one of my childhood nightmares that happened between the ages of, I would say, 5 onto just probably before I hit 11, per se, was that believe it or not, it was based on a nursery rhyme. Because, nursery rhymes are supposed to be horrific. No, they're supposed to be calm little nursery rhymes that help your children fall asleep at night. No, no, no. Not with this one. So I actually, growing up, had a severe fear of the nursery rhyme Rockabye Baby. Weird one, isn't it? So essentially, what would happen in my dream is that I would be in a crate, not necessarily a baby, but a child, and I would be up in a crate at a very, very high level in a very pitch dark room. You couldn't see anything around you, you couldn't see the ground. The only thing you could see was a very small white box which resembled a door, but you were high enough up that it looked very tiny. And you would creepily hear the song Rockabye Baby in the background, like some kind of horror music in a video game. Note to Friday Nights at Freddy's has a really creepy one. And when the nursery rhyme would get to, and when the cradle breaks, the baby will fall. Here I am in this crate, falling at 100 miles per hour to the ground, to my death, essentially. And as everything is coming into sight, all I can see is my mother trying to run through the door to catch the baby as I fall. And just before I hit the ground, I wake up. But at the same time, my mother was never able to get to me. So it was a pretty freaky dream. It pretty much screwed me up a lot of times, because every time I'd have that dream, I didn't want to go back to sleep. But there is a common myth, though, that if you have a dream where you're falling, or you jump off a building, or whatever, and you actually hit the ground, there's a myth that you're not going to actually wake up. But there is a lot of people who have dreams where they feel like they're falling. But they always wake up at that very last minute before, they go splat, which is a good thing. There's also additional fears, especially in the time like we have right now, that would be in relation to inadequacy, fear of abandonment, fear of germs, because, everyone that has an issue with germs is probably in hysterics right now, and all my strength goes out to you, because I couldn't have that fear. There's also people who have fear of hair. There's people that have fears of drowning. There's people who have fears that are created from these weird nightmares that they have that are like something out of an acid trip. There is many different things. I could continue to go on and on and on and on, but then that would just make for a really long, boring video. So yeah, I thought this would be just kind of a cute installment to my channel. Yeah, it's not Halloween and it's not that time of year, but we're all fighting our own demons and we're all fighting our own chaoses. So a big one for me when I was having that ongoing nightmare was to actually talk about it. I've talked about it enough now that it doesn't actually bother me and I can easily tell you guys about it, not a problem. So yeah, everyone has nightmares. Some people have night terrors. And they suck. They basically screw with your mind. Some people can't go back to sleep afterwards. Some people wake up in sweats. Some people, wake up crying from nightmares. It happens to all of us, but we need to just face it head on and grab that bull by the horns. So I hope you guys liked this video and my plea of insanity from the chaos. But yeah, so this is Mummy Needs a Minute number 7. Face your fears and your chaos head on. Thanks, guys. We'll see you tomorrow for the next Create With Me video on making the twin to the wine glass that I had showed previously on my social media. Thanks. Bye.